under your leadership. We know that your heart is in the right place. And we ask you that you become a champion for this urban agenda, because it is going to make a significance in the people's lives. Your Excellency, now it's my great pleasure to invite my governor, our host governor, the governor of the great city of Nakuru, to come and officially welcome us. Please come through. As she comes, allow me to recognize that we have a Managing Director, National Housing Corporation. We have the team from UN Habitat. We have the team from the World Bank. You can all stand and wave. We have the team from COG. We have got teams from various counties. So, karibuni nyinyi wote. Welcome, Governor.
Asante, thank you very much. Your Excellency, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Zakaria Njero, the Public Works, Housing and Urban Development Cabinet Secretary, our PS, Mr. Charles Hinga, the Housing and Urban Development Principal Secretary, and your team, Beatrice Eraso, I hope I said that right, the task team leader, World Bank, and your team as well, Ouma Sila, the Regional Director, UN Habitat, and your team as well, NLC, the team here, led by our gracious lady here, Commissioner. We have the MD as well for the National Housing. Yes, there, thank you very much. All the distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and I also take the opportunity to recognize the Naivasha Municipal Board, which is the host board for this very important, and you're right, you can stand up and wave actually. You've done a good job. Thank you very much, Naivasha Municipal Board. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to first and foremost convey sincere appreciation to the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, for honoring our invitation and officially opening the first edition of the Kenya Urban Forum here in Naivasha Municipality. The presence of the President demonstrated the commitment of the government of the Republic of Kenya to resolving the many challenges facing cities and urban areas in Kenya. The presence here this morning of our esteemed Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya just goes to show how important this agenda is to the government. So I also take the moment to appreciate our partners, including the World Bank, UN Habitat, and the Kenya Institute of Planners, who have contributed immensely to the success of this forum. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Naivasha Municipality is a beacon of history in the Republic of Kenya. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, which ushered in devolution or devolved systems of government, was brokered here, and the first edition of the Kenya Urban Forum is also being held here. So there's something very special about Naivasha, and specifically about Naivasha Municipality. It indeed deserves a special recognition by the government of Kenya for its contribution to the much needed reforms in the country. Your Excellency, the theme of this conference was "The Future is Urban: Strategic Pathways to Inclusive and Sustainable Urbanization in Kenya." Indeed, urbanization is real and will define the trend of the next phase of socio-economic development, which calls for consulted efforts, because sustainable solutions are urgently needed to enable our countries or our counties govern effectively and serve efficiently. The conference addressed critical issues facing the process of urbanization, including urban governance, urban management, urban resilience, urban finance, urban housing, urban infrastructure, and climate change, among others, which are the key to sustainable urbanization. Your Excellency, allow me to mention a few of the key topical issues that urban stakeholders have been able to agree on during this forum. One, the need to harmonize planning legislations, including the Physical and Land Use Planning Act, the Urban Areas and Cities Act, and the County Government Act. Harmonize all those acts. Two, the need to create a national urban development fund, which we are very excited because the president, while opening the forum, was very supportive of that. So I'm sure with your help, we shall be able to carry this ball to the finish line. So for finance to our urban areas, which are the engines of economic growth in our areas. 3, the need to explore and optimize innovative sources of revenue, such as land value capture, which our PS has very well articulated this morning. And by the way, the PS, we also, as Nakuru County, will be taking our valuation role to the county assembly here shortly when they're back from recess. So we are working together in this journey because we realize we are not, like you said, if people are paying for what the land looked like in 1980 when it was a grazing field, and now there is a hotel such as this, not that I'm giving this example, but you know. We need to capture all that so that we can modernize all that as well. So, and 4, the need to strengthen the urban institutions to deliver urban infrastructure and services. Your Excellency, the conference has rejuvenated the urban discourse in the country, which, by the way, I think for the first time, we've really been talking about urbanization when even we talked about housing, the housing agenda. So I think for the first time in the country, this agenda is on the table, and we are very happy that the Kenya Kwanza government is really believes in this and is championing this. So this has included the question of provision of affordable housing, especially in urban areas, which is part of the Kenya Kwanza government's flagship projects. Here in Nakuru County, we are excited to have a few of those having begun and some rolling out in the next financial year, because we too, as Nakuru County, believe that our citizens should be able to live in affordable housing and get decent housing while at it with sanitation. Your commitment, together with His Excellency the President, to delivering this affordable housing to Kenyans is deeply appreciated. I'm sure the professionals in this room are aligned to this bold intervention. I know we have had a few of these professionals challenged because at the end of the day, they will be really the big beneficiaries of this agenda, but I feel like we are all working in tandem now. On behalf of the people of Naivasha Municipality and Nakuru County at large, I wish to thank you and the government of Kenya and her partners for choosing Nakuru County to host this very, very, very important inaugural important event. And I wish all the delegates safe travel back home to their destinations and welcome you to the World Safari Rally Championship, scheduled for the coming weekend here in Naivasha Municipality. So there's always something great going on in Vasha. So thank you very much. Asante sana, and may the Almighty God bless you all. Thank you so much. Asante.
Thank you very much, Excellency Governor. I believe that in our lifetime, we will see this place completely changed. Your Excellency, now is my great pleasure to invite my boss, my CS, to come and make his remarks. And as he comes, Your Excellency, allow me to read a quote from Matti Stepanek. Matti said, "If you have enough breath to complain about anything, you have more than enough reason to give thanks about something." Let me repeat. If you have enough breath to complain about anything, you have more than enough reason to give thanks for something. Your Excellency, thank you so much for honoring us. I'll not be coming back here again, and we really want you to help us to champion this issue of urbanization, especially the issue of the urban poor. Thank you. God bless you, my CS.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, Excellency, the Governor of Nakuru County, other guests, including, I can see the MD of National Housing Corporation. Thank you very much. I can see the representation from the World Bank, representation from the UN Habitat, representation from all other stakeholders in the urban sector. And also, Your Excellency, I want to recognize our Secretary, Urban Development, Engineer Jenga. Your Excellency, I think he has camped here and he has a very able team that made this event very successful. Thank you very much, Engineer. Your Excellency, we want to thank you. As the Governor said, His Excellency the President came to graciously open this first Kenya Urban Forum. And we are also glad that you also found time, Your Excellency, to come today on our last day. While you are away, Your Excellency, we adopted a new way of greetings. And I know the others learned, and I want also to put you into speed. Turn to the person next to you, greet him or her, and say, the future is urban. Yeah, Your Excellency, we know our president is not around. When you go to welcome him back, when he greets you na akwambie habari ya nyumbani, just be calm and tell him, Your Excellency, the future is urban. Actually, he will know that you properly represented him in this particular forum because he went with that slogan. Your Excellency, this forum would not have come at a better time. It's only last week that we had the second session of the UN Habitat Assembly. And among the many issues that were being discussed there, one major one was urbanization. And we all know from where we are, if we don't plan today, then the future will not be good. That's why, Your Excellency, we have adopted this kind of engagement. We have the World Urban Forum, we have the African Urban Forum, and that's why we thought as a government, we should also have our own. Because urbanization in Kenya, just like in other many cities and urban areas, is growing at a very, very high rate. So it's all of us, we come together, try to discuss and plan how tomorrow will be. Because we have all confessed and agreed that the future is urban. Now, how to sustain this urban? It's something that we should all have a conversation, because the urban areas are supposed to provide or have the ability to provide socioeconomic, political, and even environmental needs of the people living today without jeopardizing the needs of those who will come tomorrow. Therefore, there is that need for us to converse. There is that need for us to talk, engage. And Your Excellency, I can assure you, one, there are people who came here as strangers, they will leave as friends. There are those who came with ideas, who came with best practices, who came with their failures. But because of coming together, there's something we have all learned from each other. So I know going forward, Your Excellency, this is a conversation that will engage each and every person who looks at the future with a very open mind. Your Excellency, also on behalf of the ministry, I want to most sincerely thank the government for supporting wholeheartedly this idea of the affordable housing. We know where we are, we know where we want to be. So we've agreed as a ministry, and also want really to thank the PS housing. I'm very happy today when he was talking here, he was calm. He'd never sweat. And that shows, anaona mbele iko mbele iko sawa. Thank you very much, PS and your team. I know you burned the midnight oil every other time to make sure this agenda moves forward. So without much ado, Your Excellency, I want once more to thank you and also thank His Excellency the President for being with us, for supporting this forum. And we know, Your Excellency, with this kind of support, with this kind of knowledge that we got from our people, both internally and externally. Your Excellency, we had so many stakeholders in the urban sector who came from outside the country to come and engage and share with us. And I'm sure there's a lot we have learned. So without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, I will request all of us to be upstanding as I welcome His Excellency, the Deputy President, to come and address us. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Waziri. Please be seated. The Cabinet Secretary, Lands, Public Works, Housing, and Urban Development, the Honorable Zakari Njeru, the Governor, Nakuru County, Susan Kiheka, aka Susi, the Principal Secretary for Housing, Charles Hinga, the Permanent Representative of the UN Habitat, the representatives from the World Bank, representatives from the UN Habitat, Excellencies, distinguished guests. I join you this afternoon in the great county of Nakuru, one of the fastest growing cities in Africa, to wind up a very critical and timely inaugural conversation under the theme, "The Future is Urban." I think to adopt the greeting, as the PS and the CS have explained, maybe we need to improve it a little bit better. So that if I say the future is urban, then you answer in a certain way. In the late 80s, there was a column in the Sad Nation called The Whispers. It was written by a guy from my home county called Wahome Mutahi. May his soul rest in peace. And in that story that was very interesting every Sunday, he was there, his wife was Thatcher, and the children were called the urbanites. So all those people who believe the future is urban, then they should be urbanites or desire to be urbanites. So when I say the future is urban, if already you live in the urban center, you say, I'm an urbanite. If you don't and you aspire to live in the urban center, you say, I'll be an urbanite. The future is urban. Thank you very much. Mumbai, you are all urbanites. I think I'm the only fellow from the village. This meeting takes place a few days after we hosted the second session of the UN Habitat Assembly in Nairobi on sustainable housing and urban development. This important convening also happens when at least a third of our population is living in urban areas, resulting in new and expansion of existing towns. It is too a moment that the country is deeply engaged in a debate on funding affordable housing. On the other hand, the government has rolled out construction of housing units in major cities and towns across the country. Distinguished guests, the robust discussion of this gathering has resulted in the adoption of key resolutions. We welcome the resolutions because they will inform our framework for sustainable urbanization. For sustainable housing as envisioned by Agenda 2030 of the United Nations, the Ruto administration will review and harmonize legal frameworks to streamline urbanization. The national government will work with the county governments in resource mobilization and strengthening institutions and mechanisms to deliver on this mandate. This will ensure necessary resources are mobilized and sound research-based integrated plans. Further, ladies and gentlemen, resolutions of this forum speak to the Kenya Kwanza plan of dignifying families through decent and affordable housing. Affordable housing will help us grow economically through jobs created in the material and service supply chains. Ultimately, this will reduce poverty, especially among the unemployed youth. Distinguished guests, for sustainable communities and cities, we will continue enhancing our collaboration with the development partners under this agenda. We appreciate the partnership and milestones made in urban governance, infrastructure development, and even capacity building achieved with the support of the World Bank the UN Habitat, the French Development Agency, AFD, the Swedish International Development Agency, SIDA, and other development partners and international friends. You are invaluable support in programs such as the Kenya Urban Support Program, the Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Program, the Nairobi Metropolitan Service Improvement Program has boosted the development of urban areas, cities, municipalities, and informal settlements across the nation. Distinguished delegates, we will continue giving priority to the achievement of one of the most important global agendas on sustainable urbanization, as spelled out in Sustainable Development Goal number 11, on making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. I am excited that at the end of this conference, yesterday, as the CS National Treasury rolled out the first budget of the Kenya Kwanza government in Parliament, you know, some people have been poking holes in our agenda in matters economy and budget, and it's because we're ignorant. Since we came to office on 13th of September, the budget that we were utilizing was not ours, and hence we take no responsibility for its shortcomings or otherwise. That budget belonged to the handshake regime. Our budget was rolled out yesterday. That is the Kenya Kwanza first budget, and we want to be held to account on its implementation. And there was a very good coincidence yesterday as we rolled out the first budget of the Kenya Kwanza administration. Very good news came from Washington. The World Bank has approved approximately 45 billion Kenya shillings to support 77 municipalities in 45 counties and 2 special municipalities for refugees in Kakuma and Dadaab. And the irony of that announcement from Washington is that as the world and international institutions acknowledge the importance of urbanization, slum upgrading, and affordable housing, characters here in this country are opposed to the same. That is the irony. You know, international institutions, very credible institutions, the entire world is saying the future is urban. Let's do slum upgrading. Let's have affordable housing to dignify the people of Kenya, to give them access to clean water, to sanitation, and all the other things that dignify a human being. Then a few characters are making noise everywhere. And the irony again of the whole thing, almost these characters who are making noise, 98% they own homes in the urban cities. So wanazuia wengine tu wafaidike. Wanapiga kelele na wako kwa nyumba yao. They are all urbanites. And they are saying others should not be. So I want to urge them now that we have 45 billion from the World Bank, what are they going to do? What I do? Sasa hata wakipinga ile yetu na hii, siba nyumba lazima ijengwe. Lazima. And I want to really thank you for this summit, and I want to encourage you, let us all join hands and support housing and slum upgrading. You know, the PS Charles Hinga is my friend. Unataka nikutoe jasho kidogo. They put these men through a very odd was the other day he was sweating. Please sit down. You know, the PS is asking me that he needs my support in affordable housing. PS. Affordable housing, slum upgrading is a baby of William Ruto and I. We need your support, not the other way around. How do you ask somebody to, how do you bisha hodi kwa nyumba yako? He's asking me to support what I believe in, what my boss believes in. And that's why I'm here. The president was here. I'm here because this program has commitment at the highest level of government, the presidency. And I want to urge all the players, the architects, the quantity surveyors, the engineers, the planners, the contractors, we join hands and dignify the people of Kenya, and things gonna work out. Again, another irony, I've seen some very good programs from Kibera, the biggest slum in this country. As we try to do slum upgrading in Kibera and other slums, Mathare, Korogosho, a character who was a leader there for 20 years and did nothing about slum upgrading is shouting from the rooftop that we shouldn't do housing. And he was there. He saw the squalor, the shame of people using flying toilets, people living in abject poverty, total indignity. And we have a program now to dignify those people, give them some affordable housing because they deserve dignity because it's in our constitution. And a fellow they elected for 20 years, believing in him, he is shouting at the rooftop that this program should not happen. Just how unfair can you be? How unfair can you be to people who have been so nice to you? These are people who have given you leadership for 20 years. You did nothing for them. Somebody else has come to say, let's do something for them. You did nothing for them. They gave you leadership, and then you are trying to stop it. Sijui ni wivu. Kikwetu kinyumbani huko tunaita kikoro. Sijui, I don't know. I don't understand. I think I'm lost. I don't understand people in this country anymore. Why would anybody is in his right frame of mind have a problem with slum upgrading? Why would anybody in his right thinking have a problem with having affordable housing for Kenyans so that they can live with dignity? We don't understand. So me, I want to say thank you. I'm not your ambassador. I am the owner. So this is in my DNA. The president and I, we talk housing. Morning, lunchtime, and jioni kama dawa. That is one of our pillars in our manifesto and is one of our contractual understanding with the people of Kenya. We have entered with the people of Kenya a 5-year contract, and one of the things we have agreed with them is affordable housing. We have every intention of honoring our part of the contract because in another 4.5 years, we'll be going back to the people of Kenya to renew the contract, and we don't want them to terminate that contract. So finally, for Nakuru, I think you are very lucky. And I don't think you have a problem with affordable housing because your governor is passionate about housing. She's an urbanite. Not just one of Kenya, she lived in America all her life. So she is urban. She's not even waiting for the future. Herself, she is urban. Then, luckily for Nakuru County, the cabinet secretary in charge of housing, Zach Njeru, is from Nakuru. The principal secretary who is being made to sweat by negative fellows, Charles Hinga, is from Nakuru. What else can the people of Nakuru ask in matters housing? So Susan, Zach, Hinga, hata Yesu alianza Jerusalem before aende Judea. Charity begins at home. Before you can convince the rest of us you can build houses, simujenge hapa nyumbani kwanza. Inakuwaga namna hiyo. Mtatujengea namna gani kama hama mwezi jenga? So Nakuru, I think, is sorted. We have got a good team, and I think we should have enough houses, affordable, to dignify the people, not just of Nakuru, but the people of Kenya. Again, Nakuru is a host to all communities. It's cosmopolitan. Everybody is here in Nakuru. And all those people who came from elsewhere want houses that are affordable. So I think that will go on very well. So I don't want to say much beyond there. You know, my boss is away, so I'm the one in charge. I need to keep going so that I make sure niende nipakapange maneno, nisitaki kumwaga unga yangu. Najua Susan, wewe ukitaka yako imwagike, mimi hapana iko hapo. So mimi ni kuchunga maneno ya bosi yangu, housing nini. Nikiona watu wameweka sufuria kwa kichwa, ninawatoa, ninarudishia wamama. Ndio tusibuane. Na tunataka tu tukiwa hapa Nakuru kuomba hii watu ya masufuria. Tafadhali muache kusubua mama wetu. Sufuria ni ya kutupikia. Sasa kila siku mnachukua sufuria, mkienda kwa inatia gas inapotea. Mnaenda mnachukua ingine inapotea. Sasa kitchen yote hakuna sufuria. So tunataka kutetea wamama wetu. Please, nendeni town mnunue sufuria zenu. Hapa tunachukua masufuria nyumbani. So tumeshukuru sana. DCC Naivasha. The sub-county commander is here, ama ni watu ya county? Nimekuja na ile list ya wale watu wanatengeneza pombe na wanauza bangi. Nitakupatia. Wapi hiyo list? Iko hapa. Kuja Kevara. Sasa mimi nimejaribu kusaidia kwa sababu ni mtu ya ground. Kuja Kevara. Ndio hii. Hii ndio watu nasumbua Naivasha. Can you deal with it? How many days? 1 week? Today is when? We talk next Friday or Saturday? Next Friday. What time? Sakumi. Thank you, Commissioner. Please do it. Najua sisi mimi na William Ruto, because we are hustlers and downtrodden people. We get a lot of information. Upatie hawa watu. Wakikosa kufanya, ujue wako na shida. So the Commissioner, you have it. Do what you must do. Let us prepare our young people for affordable houses. This program of affordable housing require labor from our young people. We require fundis. Sasa hii watoto wetu wote wamekunywa pombe ile mbaya, wamelala kwa mitaro. Wengine wameoa juzi, kuliko kulala kwa kitanda juu, wanalala chini ya kitanda. Wamekunywa pombe haramu, wamefuta banki. So this program of you as PS Hinga, how will it work with a drunken nation? If all our young people are drunk and they are sleeping on trenches, they don't even recognize each other, how will it work? So some people are saying that I've been allocated useless duties of fighting alcohol and banking. It's part of the housing program. I want you to look at it that way. I am not just fighting this alcohol and banking for the sake of it. I want to prepare the workforce to do the housing program. With those very many remarks, the future is urban. The future is urban. Asanteni sana. May God bless you and bless you abundantly. Thank you.
Another round of applause for our Deputy President. Please be seated. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, now as we come to the end of today's session, I would like to request you to witness the signing of 13 resolutions that emanated from this conference. And this wasn't a talk show. This is a call for action. In 2 years' time, when we invite you again, you want us to hold the same way of holding the county commissioner accountable. Please hold us accountable for these resolutions, because we don't want your time to be wasted. Kindly, the governor and the cabinet secretary proceed to the signing table, and Your Excellency, the Deputy President, you can kindly witness. So I'm going to read the resolutions as they sign. The future is urban. The national and county, this is resolution number 1. The national and county government, in partnership with urban sector stakeholders, shall review and harmonize the urban sector legislation, including County Government Act 2012, Physical and Land Use Plan Act 2019, Urban Areas and Cities Act 2011, amended in 2019, to guide urban planning and development. 2. The national government, in collaboration with the county governments and other urban sector actors, shall review the session of paper number 1 of 2016 on the National Urban Development Policy to align to existing urbanization dynamics and realities. 3. The national government, in collaboration with the Council of Governors, shall create a framework to establish and operationalize, this is very important, the National Urban Development Fund. This is the big takeaway, and we must have the framework ready before the end of this year. The county government, with the support of national government and urban sectors, stakeholders shall establish mechanism to leverage own source revenue potential as identified in the study by the Commissioner of Revenue Allocation, including adoption of innovative funding mechanisms such as land value capture. 5. The national and county government shall strengthen and expand cooperation and multi-level climate action in order to enhance inclusion of local level contribution in new and updated nationally determined contribution and support the implementation of the nationally determined contributions at the local level. 6. The national government shall establish an urban sector working group comprising of urban sector stakeholders and convened by the State Department for Housing to support the process of attaining inclusive and sustainable urbanization in Kenya. 7. The national and county governments shall collaborate in the provision of adequate housing for all, including by integrating urban social rental housing into the affordable housing program. 8. The county government shall develop county legislation and vision in Section 173 of the PFM Act to guide allocation of funds to cities and urban areas. Your Excellency, this is actually an area that our constitution needs to be fixed because the functions were devolved, but when you go to Schedule 4, it was not captured. And you know, Senate allocates money religiously following Schedule 4. So without the World Bank money, basically there is no money that we are allocating, and it's something we need to fix. The county government, 9, shall integrate urban development plans for all the cities and urban areas as a basis for allocating budget and guiding implementation of the county integrated development plans, otherwise known as CIDPs. 10, county government shall establish urban institutions, including cities and municipal boards, town and market center committees that are well-resourced with requisite human and financial capacity to effectively perform their mandate in line with the Urban Areas and Cities Act and their respective charters. And Governor of Nakuru, we want you to lead these. I know sometimes devolving is a little bit difficult. We want to hold on to issues. Please devolve to the municipalities, and municipalities devolve to markets, and markets devolve to towns, and towns devolve to markets. That is the only way we can be able to provide services at the lowest level, and we know that we are living in the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. 11, county government shall prepare the necessary development control tools and ensure strict compliance and enforcement to the same to achieve planned urbanization. Your Excellency, there is something called betterment rights. Betterment rights, and these counties, they talk about own source revenue, and it sounds like something very abstract. Let me give you a very simple one. If, for example, you have a development control where you say you can only build 10 floors, and you know, Your Excellency, we're not buying space. The county governments can come up with what is called betterment rights and go to a developer and say, I'm going to give you an additional 4 floors. In return, build for me a market, build for me a school, build for me a fire station for free. That is what is called betterment rights. 12, there shall be harmonized approach to urban land management with more emphasis on accessibility to land as opposed to land ownership. All public land shall be inventorized, planned, surveyed, and titled for land banking to support public purpose development and investment. And lastly, national and county government together with urban sector stakeholders develop a roadmap towards Kenya's participation in the 12th World Urban Forum coming up in Egypt next year. Those are the 13 resolutions that came from here. Your Excellency, we will know that you'll hold us to account on each and every one of them. It has been my great pleasure to host you here as the peers in charge. Thank you very much. I know the rest, some of them left early in the morning, but you stayed for this session. Thank you so much. The future is urban. God bless you.
With your permission, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, may we all be upstanding as we play the national anthem.